So Donald Trump and his administration prove once again that they do not care about workers, and in fact, they hate workers. This is the story today. Furloughed government workers may not be entitled to back pay, report says, as Trump claims some jobs will never come back. This was something that, going into the shutdown, it was sort of expected, anticipated that if you're a federal worker, you're going to get back pay, right? You'll eventually get paid. But we are dealing with the Trump administration, and now they're looking for ways to not pay people. And that was a memo sent out by one of Trump's people, Russ Vought, as part of Project 2025. And then you also have this, because you're talking about a couple different types of workers. I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids. Shutdown hits federal contractors hard. So people working directly for the government are now concerned about their pay, and people working as contractors for the government, right, are also concerned about their pay. This is a terrible time right now with the shutdown, and we'll read a description of it because I just always want to remind people that there's people on the ground that are really hurting right now. This is all due to Trump's shutdown. Audrey Murray is losing sleep over the government shutdown that could soon derail her paychecks. Murray, age 65, has worked as a cleaner at the Smithsonian Museum of American History for nearly 3 decades, so like about 30 years. Now she is among the hundreds of thousands of federal government contractors whose livelihoods are being threatened by the political dysfunction in Washington, D.C. Here's a quote here. It's so sad that they think they can play with people's lives. Stop this. Stop messing with people. We have families who depend on us. Unlike federal employees, contractors typically don't receive back pay when the government reopens from shutdown, and this will include a lot of different jobs. So it says low-wage service workers, so that would be cleaners, janitors, security guards, cafeteria workers, other staffers who keep buildings operating are often out of luck. And for anyone who's ever been to museum or government building, these kind of things, you'll know a lot of these jobs are contracted out, right? They work in the buildings. They describe these different things that basically keep the lights on, but they are in a different category than the federal workers. And this is something that we don't talk about enough. That's why I'm bringing it up. Plus, you have the federal workers, right? Furlough workers, and again, the Trump people are pushing to not pay these people. This is something I want to go over also is your comments, because I know that oftentimes people feel like they're alone out there, meaning like, why doesn't anyone, call out this craziness that the Trump people are doing? And I always wonder the same thing is like, MAGA people who support Trump, it's like they're always voting against themselves. I want to read some of your comments. This is from Jay. Jay says, America is like that customer who doesn't read the terms and conditions, right? So know what you're getting when you choose something. Joel says, Trump must fulfill his destiny of being the worst, most ignorant, and incompetent U.S. president ever. Copernicus says, talking about a video that we did yesterday, quote, MAGA cheering on their own demise. That's something I mentioned before, and that was with the AI stuff, to where Trump's whole goal is to replace workers with robots and automation, basically, right? And MAGA, who supports this stuff, is, again, cheering their own demise. Copernicus also says, that describes the whole ugly affair in the shortest terms I've heard. They don't realize Trump represents the top 0.1%, and like the rest of the top 0.1%, invests heavily in duping, right, in duping everyone else. Here's more of your comments, and again, I just want to let you guys know that you're not alone, because I know now is a really frustrating time. Sear says, MAGA voters for Trump, always remember this universal law. Quote, if you dig one ditch for another, you had better dig two, because the trap you set may be for you. That's a quote from Mahalia Jackson. Richard says, I sent my application to Bethlehem Steel. Studebaker will be starting up again. Measles and polio are back. I'm ready to party like it's 1954. meaning that, all the talk that Trump is saying all the time is always to roll the clock back and go back to a different era that doesn't exist anymore, basically making a bunch of promises he can't keep regarding jobs and such. And I've told you guys this several times, whenever we talk about Trump or Musk, right, this kind of people, their whole goal in life is to pay as little as possible. Don't pay any people at all would even be best. And even better, get rid of your workers entirely and just get a bunch of robots. That's their goal out there. Keep those margins going, right? Keep increasing their profits for them. Create a system to where billionaires benefit, everyone else suffers. And this complete, system that they're talking about here is totally unsustainable. And I personally didn't think that Trump was going to mess with the worker pay. I thought Trump was just going to, I'm just going to get everyone, fire everyone. I thought they're going that route. But now they're going with the route with, well, maybe some people we maybe can't fire because we need said people, but we're definitely not going to pay you. It's like, okay, great. And then this is another one from Swift. Hey, folks, remember, it was always a class war. The culture war was a distraction, which I completely agree with. It's something that I get frustrated a lot with. I know how it is. You watch TV, you watch other channels on YouTube, etc. They're going to talk about culture war this, culture war that, and you'll see a lot of channels talk about left this, right that. I'm telling you guys, the vast, vast, vast majority of us, the 99.9% of us, are all in the same boat, basically. And we have concerns like everyone else: take care of our family, put food on the table, right? And then you got the Trump class, and literally, that's the subject of today, is like they just don't want to pay anyone. It's crazy. And then they wonder why things don't work, and they get upset. So, for example, this is also going on right now. Airport staffing shortages cause flight delays a week into shutdown. So if you guys are flying this week for work, you can let me know if you've had these experiences. So I guess several flights were affected, and you have two issues. One is weather. Two is staffing shortages, right? So it could be a combination of both of these things. And then regarding the weather, if we have staffing shortages at, agencies that track the weather, because remember, they've been attacking weather and climate stuff. No, for real. It's how does this even make any sense? Every time I look at this stuff, it's just like what else can Trump dismantle today? Regarding the staffing stuff at the airport, it says here, staffing shortages have delayed flights in several U.S. cities, so it's not just one, it's a lot. Shortly after Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, that's your MTV, I think it was MTV Road Rules, that's who Trump likes to pick, people who, either on Fox News or I guess in this case MTV, warned the shutdown could lead to delays and cancellations, and that's I guess what we're having now. And it's talking about no air traffic controllers at the Hollywood Burbank Airport in California. I used to live in LA, so I actually know exactly where this airport is. And then you got staffing issues in Newark, Phoenix, Denver, and something like a Denver, that's a hub, right? So a lot of flights will go through there. And then 6,000 flights are delayed on Monday. And then on Thursday, when they had the shutdown, before the shutdown, they had 7,000 flights that are delayed. And I think it's going to get worse. And then they were saying maybe some locations, half of the people didn't, staffing shortages. The whole pay thing, so this was, there's a thing they passed back in 2019. You're going to hear a lot about this, called the GEFTA, or the Government Employee Fair Treatment Act of 2019. And Trump actually signed this thing, which was supposed to guarantee pay for workers, but now they're going to say, no. It doesn't. I never signed that. That's the kind of person Trump is. And they were talking to, I guess they changed the website even, the Trump people did, regarding the pay. Mike Johnson is kind of like going back and forth on that one. And the Republicans are saying, I just haven't heard that yet. Right? They try to pretend this stuff. But they know what they're doing. They're not that stupid. They're mostly just liars, to be frank with you guys. But regular people do see the effects on the ground. For example, this was a survey that just came out. Consumers see higher inflation in year ahead. New York Fed source survey says. Basically, as it says right here, it says consumers see higher inflation in the year ahead. So if you ask people what do you think about inflation, and it's lower middle income households are ones who are feeling the most pain from these things. So it would be people household income less than 50,000, education at most high school education. And I mention this stuff because this represents the MAGA base here, that they're experiencing the brunt of Trump's policies, right? Inflation is getting out of control. We also have Trump not wanting to pay people. I mean, think about this. Like, the jobs aren't there, the pay isn't going to be there, and costs keep going up. It's completely unsustainable. And then we have this report that just came out today, the WTO, World Trade Organization, and they're predicting that trade's going to be down. And I think like going into next year is like 0.5% or something like that. So basically flat. And a lot of this is due to Trump's policies. And it's not just his policies, which are terrible. It's the not caring to do anything to help regular people, right? Because you could have a bad policy, but then like you're like, hey, I'm here to work for the American people. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna make it work together. But they're just like, I have bad policies. I'm not gonna fix it, and in fact, I'm gonna make it worse. And I don't get it. I don't get how he, can keep basically lying to people. How long can this go on? I see the polling data. He's been underwater in the polls for quite a long time. I think people do see what's happening here, and I'm personally just waiting for midterms. But it's like a lot of people are worried about, because the talk we're talking about now is he going to say, hey, I'm going to invoke the Insurrection Act and I'm going to call the military in all the cities, etc. I mean, that's, you did hear talk about this stuff before. I just say people would talk about it, and I wouldn't bring it up that much about whether or not Trump would militarize everything, because it just seemed so outlandish, to be frank. But now literally we're watching it live every day on TV, and like this kind of stuff, the whole worker thing. And one of the things that Trump may try to pull, I was thinking about this because he does these stupid games all the time, would be something like, okay, I'm going to tax everyone, right, with the tariffs, and then say maybe right before an election or whatever, oh, hey, I'm going to give you guys, rebate check. Oh, wow, look how great a president I am. So it'd be like this, I'm going to tax you $1,000, right? And basically everyone suffers. I'm just giving an example. And then maybe right before election, hey, I'm going to give you a check for $100. Wow, look how great of a president I am. And for those of you who can do basic math, you'll realize, wow, we just got cheated. He's trying to basically play tricks on people. But that's sort of why the Republican strategy is to cut education and get you focused on just, I'll just be frank with you guys, racist dog whistle stuff. That's ends up with it being, and you get all confused, and you say, oh wow, he's giving me $100 and he's helped me arrest people that I don't like. Wow, we're doing great. And this is why then we got to talk about the reality, though. When I see this kind of stuff, I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids. I mean, I really know how it is, guys. I just put it that way. If you know my story, I grew up picking berries. I worked baling hay in the farm. I worked in construction, insulation. I know what it means to work. I worked in grocery stores when I was a kid. I worked at restaurants, these kind of stuff. I know what it means to, if someone doesn't pay you, I know exactly what it means. I know how these Trump people are. And for people like Trump, they've never worked a honest day in their life or worked at all. Their idea of work is pick up a phone, have someone go fix something, right? Oh man, I worked so hard today. I had to dial the phone. In fact, now we're in an era where Trump just tells someone else to dial the phone, right? And he'll just spend whatever time on the call and ask like, hey, can I get my photo with you? And then tell everyone I'm doing a great job. And then can I build my gold ballroom? I mean, it's so ridiculous. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know that you're not alone. And I think, honestly, I mean, more and more people will see what's going on, especially when you're not now going to get paid, according to Trump. There's definitely going to be a fight on that one, though, when you're dealing with people's money. So that's my thoughts on this stuff. I want to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.